Talking about the Barrowland, a week or so back was a big gig there with Glenn Danzig and the band Danzig playing there after originally being booked into the Mayfair. We recorded an interview with Glenn and we asked him firstly, why the change of venue?
The Mayfair, we couldn't get our equipment truck into the back. We couldn't perform on the stage. It was too small. We couldn't get our amps in. We couldn't get our lighting rig in. It was just whoever booked us in the Mayfair just didn't really think very well in advance. It was too small. Mm-hmm. Actually, because we moved it to Barrowlands, we were able to let a lot more people in. So that was good.
I would have thought it was the sort of thing that should be arranged weeks in advance rather than on the afternoon of the gig.
Me too.
Let's take a break then, Glenn, and have a listen to one of the tracks off the new album. This, in fact, is the opening track, and we'll talk about it afterwards if that's okay. We'll talk about Godless. Danzig from the third Danzig album. That's the opening track, and that's Godless. Glenn Danzig, singer, producer, writer of the track, is our guest on Clyde One tonight.
You left out killer.
Serial killer?
No.
We have a guy called Bible John that I'd like you to meet.
Yeah, okay.
Godless, spread your tentacles of hate around my life. Deep subject.
Well, that's basically, the smothering feeling of whatever religion is just trying to smother the life out of you with their hypocrisy or whatever. Basically, Godless is about the frustration I see that a lot of people in America and even here in Europe are having with organized religion, especially Christianity and maybe even the Muslim religions. They're very, very,
You were brought up as a Christian?
Yeah. My dad is Protestant and my mom was Catholic.
And at some stage in your upbringing, you...
No, I wasn't brought up real strict Christian at all. There was no forcing religion down my throat or anything like that. Early on, it was quite clear that of course my mom, being Catholic, would like for us to always go to church and stuff, and my dad really didn't really care. As long as we had an early religious education, that's all I think that mattered to him.
Mm-hmm. So in that song, it's not so much Christianity that you're singing against or writing against. It's more Jimmy Swaggart type of thing.
Well, that's Christianity. That's the Baptists are Christians, just like the Catholics are. I think the Baptists and the Christians are the main culprits. I mean, it's clearly about more than just that. But also, I think the Muslims now are starting to get very, very oppressive with their people. But it seems like the people don't mind so much in the Muslim religion. Whereas I think that a lot of people in the Christian religions do mind. They're not happy. I mean, there are a lot of atheists in America now. I don't know about here in Europe. I would imagine there are.
Are you an atheist?
No. I don't know if what I believe in you could call God, because I also believe in myself very strongly too. So I wouldn't say that my beliefs are traditional at all. Very far from it.
That's the debut single from Danzig. It's taken 3 albums to get it out. It's called Dirty Black Summer. It's from Danzig 3, How the Gods Kill. Glenn is our guest on Clyde tonight. Just before we played that track, Glenn, you mentioned Hitler, and I was reading somewhere one of your interviews in one of the magazines where Hitler was mentioned, and something that I wasn't aware of. You suggest that Hitler was actually a Satanist. Is that documented? Is that true?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Well, not so much a Satanist as very into the occult, the spirit destiny, which Hitler is supposed to have owned, and he sent lots of the missions.
What's the spear of destiny, sorry?
The spear that pierced the side of Christ while he was on the cross is supposed to have magical powers. Whoever held it would become very powerful and be able to fulfill any kind of destiny they want. Hitler regularly sent out expeditions to find these occult artifacts, and in the beginning of Hitler's reign, he had a group that was called the Lords of the Left Hand, and in there was a guy named Haushofer, who was his spiritualist, who he had collaborated with before, and this guy basically divined his war plans for him and when to attack, when the right time to attack was, how to approach things of this nature. And even more detailed, I have a book which is called The Occult Roots of Nazism, which explains all this. And as soon as eventually, I would say early on to mid-on in the Nazi campaign, lots of people in Hitler's organization were very jealous of other people who had power with Hitler, and turned Hitler against these people. One of these people being Haushofer, another one was Rommel. People within the Third Reich were jealous of these people and the friendship they had and the trust that Hitler had with these people. And so people within the Third Reich turned Hitler against these people, and which eventually led to his downfall. And the two main people are Haushofer, his occultist guy. Once this guy was gone, their campaign started to become disastrous. And also losing Rommel was a big disaster for him.
See, when you're a boy, we talked about it earlier, about your reading, but on a lighter note, when you were a boy, what were you buying albums-wise, or stealing Black Sabbath albums, Deep Purple albums?
Black Sabbath was the first band I saw live.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they were not as good as on record, but they were still good. It was with Ozzy, so it was still Black Sabbath. To me, Black Sabbath without Ozzy is not Black Sabbath. It's not. It's just not. And so, bands like that. I've always liked Elvis, even when I was a little kid. His voice, I just, of course, he's put a lot of crap albums out, but he's done a lot of good stuff, a lot of good work too. So.
An era of Glenn Danzig that I certainly wasn't into. I was never a punk personally. There was some punks there at the Barrowland on Friday night.
The Misfits and Sam Hain never had just a punk audience, especially Sam Hain. Sam Hain was a very grungy kind of metal. It was a cross between punk and metal, both bands. Sam Hain actually more like a death kind of metal and punk thing, and Danzig now just even more.
One question just to finish it, Glenn, and that's about the occult and young people. Would you warn young people about getting involved in the occult?
As opposed to getting involved in a religion that would want you to
Catholic or
kill people?
Protestant?
Yeah. No, I wouldn't. Whatever they want to get involved in is their business, and it's nobody else's business. As with any religion, Catholic or Satanic or whatever religion they get involved in, the Muslim religion, whatever, use your head.
Glenn Danzig, thanks for talking to us tonight on Clyde, and all the best.
You too. Take care.